Well, Spain, Ireland, and Norway have announced that they will recognize a Palestinian state next week. Well, the step comes amid international outrage over the civilian death toll and humanitarian crisis in Gaza Strip during the 7 months into the war. Today's decision may generate momentum for the recognition of a Palestinian state by other EU nations and UN member countries. Norway's prime minister said there cannot be peace in the Middle East if there is no recognition. Israel has responded by recalling its ambassadors from all three countries.
Last month I stood on these same steps with Prime Minister Sanchez of Spain, and we said that the point of recognizing the state of Palestine was coming closer. That point has now arrived. Today, Ireland, Norway, and Spain are announcing that we recognize the state of Palestine. Each of us will now undertake whatever national steps are necessary to give effect to that decision.
We thank those countries for taking this principled position. We believe that this is an astounding message of support to the Palestinian people's right to self-determination, independence, and statehood, which is non-negotiable and non-derogable. We believe it's also an astounding message against apartheid, colonialism, and genocide.
Well, Jon Allen is the former Canadian ambassador to Israel and Spain. He joins us live now with his thoughts on the latest developments. We appreciate your time. So what do you make of this decision by these EU countries, and do you think others will follow suit?
I do think others will follow suit within the EU, possibly Australia, New Zealand, and possibly Canada. I think it's a recognition that for many years we have mouthed support for two states, but we actually, as Western countries, haven't done very much about it as settlements have increased. And the Netanyahu government has essentially refused to consider two states. I think it's an effort by countries to give moderate Palestinians some hope and to recognize that both Israelis and Palestinians have a right to their own self-determination going forward. And I think finally it says to Israel, you don't have a veto over this. Of course, the final status negotiations have to take place. This doesn't mean two states are going to happen tomorrow, but it hopefully begins a process leading towards.
I'm wondering, what do you make of the timing of this announcement, considering that you do have Israel and Hamas who are currently at war, a war that is, far from over, but at the same time, they have a terrorist organization that is essentially running this particular region. Is now the right time to acknowledge a Palestinian state at a time when terrorists are governing the Palestinian people and their charter essentially calls for the genocide and the destruction of Israel?
Well, Hamas governs in the Gaza Strip. It does not govern all Palestinians. Mm-hmm. Palestinian Authority governs in the West Bank. And when the Biden administration or we talk about the need for a two-state solution, we're talking about working with the Palestinian Authority, a revitalized Palestinian Authority with free elections, ending corruption, better governance. All of this will take time, but we're not talking about dealing with Hamas. Hamas, as you say, is a terrorist organization. Its aims are to obliterate Israel, whereas moderate Palestinians want to sit down with Israelis and negotiate end settlement expansion. These moves are not a reward for Hamas. They are an effort to give hope to moderate Palestinians so that they will be able to carry this revitalization forward over time.
How do you think Canada is going to respond to this?
Well, I think Canada will feel increasing pressure. We abstained last week at the United Nations General Assembly when a number of other of our allies, Australia, New Zealand, France, Spain, etc., supported what was then a procedural move to recognize Palestine. But we did indicate that over time, depending on certain criteria, we too could recognize the state. And I think as more European countries do so, I think Canada will probably fall in line.
Jon Allen, former Canadian ambassador to Israel and Spain, we appreciate your time. Thanks for joining us.